Good afternoon. These notes are on the vocabulary for our next unit, which is surface area and volume, and this should be page 111 in your notebook. So let's go ahead and get started. All right. So our first word that we need to know is the word polyhedron, and polyhedron is just a 3D figure in which all the surfaces are polygons. So this is a polyhedron. All of these shapes are actually polyhedrons. A face is a flat surface of a polyhedron. So if you look, this rectangle right here, that's one of the faces. And this rectangular prism actually has 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the top 5 and the bottom 6 faces. The next vocabulary word is the word edge, the line segment along which two faces meet. So for example, right here, I'm going to highlight that. The side and the bottom meet to form this edge. Vertices is a point where 3 or more edges intersect. So for example, this point right here, that's a vertice. That's a vertice. That's one, and then all of these over here. So basically where you see the corners, those are the vertices. But if you notice, it says where 3 or more edges intersect, and remember an edge is where two faces, and faces have to be flat. So when we get into more of the complex figures, we're going to have to really be careful of what we call vertices. All right, a net is an arrangement of a 2D figure that can be folded to form a 3D figure. So if you look at this, you could think about packing boxes or moving boxes. They come flat, but then if you fold up the sides and fold up this side and fold up that side and fold that up and tape it all together, it'll create a rectangular prism just like here. So this is a net. It's taking a 3D figure and unfolding it. All right, volume is the number of cubic units needed to fill a given space. So if you look at this shape right here, we could tell it's a cube because it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then so length, width, and height, 1, 2, 3. So all of those are the same. And so you do 3 times 3 times 3 to figure out how many cubes are in here. So that's how you do volume. And then surface area is the sum, which means to add, of all the area of all the faces. So if we take this rectangular prism and we unfold it, we create this net, and then from this net we now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rectangles, which we can find the area of each of those faces and add them together. So now what we're going to do is we're going to look at examples, and we're going to fill in the name, the shape, the name, the faces, vertices, and edges. So the shape of the base is a square. And since all the sides are equivalent, we're going to call this a cube. The number of faces is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 faces. The vertices are right here in the corners, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then the edges, we're going to count those, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there are 12 edges in a cube. Okay. All right. Similarly over here, we've got a rectangular prism. So the base shape is a rectangle. We're going to call this a rectangular prism. And the reason why it's a prism is because, excuse me, the two bases are parallel to each other, and that's what creates a prism. Okay. The number of faces, 1, 2, 3, in the back 4, top 5, bottom 6. Vertices, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And your edges, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. 11, 12. All right, our next shape is the base is a triangle. So a lot of people want to say that the base is this rectangle, but it's not. The bases, remember, the bases are going to have to be what's parallel to each other. So these two triangles are actually the bases. So you could just say that this triangular prism is on its side. So this is actually the base. So the base shape is a triangle. And we're going to call this a triangular prism. And then the number of faces, we got the 2 triangles front and back, that's 2, and then this rectangle 1, 2, and this side rectangle 3, so it gives us 5 total faces. And then our vertices, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then our edges, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6, 7, 8, 9. All right. Our next shape, the base is a circle. And the name is called a cylinder. So the number of faces is actually only going to be 2. And the reason why it's only going to be 2 is because these are the only 2 that are actually flat. This rectangle right here that you see is actually curved around the circles. So we cannot call that a face, because if you look at the definition of a face, it has to be flat. And then this rectangle, it's curved around. So we cannot call that a face. So there's only 2 faces, and those are the circles. All right, vertices is where 3 or more edges come together, and there aren't 3 that come together, so actually there's no vertices and there's no edges. There is a debate online whether or not this has 2 edges or 1, but definition of edges is that when 2 faces come together and a face has to be flat, so that's why I'm saying 0 and 0. All right, the shape right here, the base is a square, so this is the bottom right here. And this is not going to be a prism because there's not 2 bases that are parallel to each other, so this is actually going to be called a pyramid, so we're going to call this a square pyramid. So how you name pyramids is you look at the base shape. So this is a square pyramid, and the next one's going to be a triangular pyramid. All right, so the number of faces on the square pyramid, well, we've got the 4 triangles around the sides, and then we've got the base right here. You can also use the net picture to help you with the faces as well. So there are 5 faces. The number of vertices is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the number of edges is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. The next shape is another pyramid, but this time the base is a triangle, so we're going to write the word triangle right here. And then the name is a triangular pyramid. Okay. The number of faces, 1 on the base, and then 2 in the back, 3, and then 4. So 4 faces. Number of vertices, 1, 2, 3, 4 vertices. And then the number of edges, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right, our last 2 shapes. So the base shape of this is a circle, but this one's going to be called a cone. It kind of looks like an ice cream cone. All right, the number of faces is 1 because you only have 1 flat surface, and then there's no vertices and there's no edges. All right, so there's really no base to this shape, but there is this circle that's made in the center. So we're going to say circle, and the name is called a sphere. Okay, so sphere, and the PH is the F sound. And then the number of faces, there's actually no faces because there's nothing flat about a sphere. And there's no vertices and there's no edges. Okay. All right, so that was the geometry, or the 3D geometry vocabulary for volume and surface area. So just make sure that you're familiar with all of these terms and that you're familiar with faces, vertices, and edges, and you know which one is which. All right, if you have any questions or comments, just put them at the bottom of the video, and I hope you guys have a great afternoon.